The old cowboy wasn't the man he used to be. His hair, once bright as a summer field, was now steel gray at the temples, and his face was carved deep with the years he'd spent in the sun. He lived out here alone on a ranch pressed up against the hills, where the grass was sparse and the only sound at night was the lonely howl of the coyotes. Most days, the only creatures he spoke to were his cattle, and when he drank his coffee by the fire, he'd often wonder how long a man could go on in the quiet before he actually forgot what his own voice sounded like. 20 years back, he'd been completely different. Sharp-eyed, lightning quick with a gun and tough as rawhide in the saddle. It was back then, during a terrible skirmish between the settlers and the Apaches, that life had truly tested him. He'd stumbled onto a burning village. Thick smoke was just pouring over the hills. In the total panic, he'd found a tiny Apache girl hiding beneath a broken wagon, her small body shaking, her dark eyes huge with fear. He could still recall how she desperately clung to him. Her sobs muffled against his shirt while the sound of gunfire and men screaming tore through the air around them, going against every single warning, breaking every rule. He had carried her to safety. He left her right on the edge of her people's territory so they could surely find her. Then he'd simply ridden away, never once looking back. The memories stuck with him like a half-forgotten nightmare. Some nights she'd wake up and swear he could smell smoke, hearing her frightened, faint cry of mama over the roar of that old fire. He never did find out what happened to her. He just prayed every night that she'd made it. Then on a slow spring evening, while he was mending a section of the fence line, he heard the distinct sound of hoof-beats. At first he figured it was just some stray rider passing through, but the sound kept growing closer, steady and determined. He turned around, one hand instinctively settling near the revolver on his hip. Riding out of the setting sun was a woman, her back straight, her whole posture proud. Her long black hair was carefully braided with strips of red cloth, and her buckskin dress showed the clear, intricate patterns of the Apache people. She dismounted without a single word, her dark, intense eyes fixed on him with a depth he hadn't felt in decades, and when she finally spoke, her voice held both the soft echo of a memory and the undeniable firmness of cold steel cowboy. She said, her tone as solid as the ground beneath him. "I commit to marry you." He just blinked. Sure he hadn't heard her right. "What?" His voice cracked from the lack of use. Her chin lifted slightly. "I am the girl you saved 20 years ago." She paused and the sunset framed her face in pure gold. "They called me lost, but you are the one who found me. You carried me through the fire when no one else would. You gave me back my life, and now I return to give you mine." The cowboy's breath completely hitched. He took in her features, older now, of course, but those were the same dark eyes that had looked up at him from under that wagon. The same quiet, fierce strength now sharpened into the stunning beauty of a woman. His chest seized up. Those old memories came flooding back like a broken dam I never expected. He started, but the words just failed him. What he saw in her gaze wasn't a child's simple gratitude. It was a woman's unbreakable vow. For the first time in 20 years, the silence of his lonely ranch was finally shattered. Not by the wind or the coyotes, but by the loud, clear sound of destiny itself coming to call. The cowboy just stood there by the fence, frozen, his hand still clamped onto the strand of barbed wire. He wasn't sure if he should laugh, try to argue, or just fall to his knees from the sheer disbelief. 2 decades of silence had been completely demolished by one simple sentence, and he was nowhere near ready to handle the weight of it. "You don't actually mean that," he finally muttered, his voice quiet, practically begging her to rethink this whole thing. "I was just a man doing what any man should do. You don't owe me your life, girl." But she simply shook her head, the braids swaying over her shoulders. "You don't understand, my people. In our stories we say, when someone carries you through fire, they become tied to your very soul. When I was little, I made a promise to myself. I would find the cowboy who saved me. I have carried that promise all my life, and now I am here." The cowboy swallowed hard. Here ears were burning with such intense conviction, it scared him more than any gun barrel ever could. He had lived too long with ghosts. Ghosts of war, of lost comrades, of shattered dreams buried under dust. He'd never once thought himself fit for a wife, especially one who arrived bearing a vow forged in her own childhood terror. "You've got family, a tribe," he said gruffly, though his own voice wavered slightly. "They won't like this at all." "They know," she replied, her tone perfectly steady. "Some tried to stop me. Some tried to stop me. Others told me I was foolish, but I follow my own path now. I rode across the desert and canyon 4 weeks. My feet bled. My horse was nearly broken. Still I came. Do you really believe I would cross all that distance just to be turned away?" Her words hit him with the force of a punch. He could clearly see the trail dust clinging to her dress, the rough calluses on her hands, the exhaustion in her voice. She hadn't arrived casually. She had come with the crushing weight of all those years pushing her forward. The cowboy finally looked away, staring toward the hills where the sun was now sinking low, painting the entire sky blood red. "Folks in town will talk," he quietly murmured. "They always talk. A white rancher and an Apache bride. It won't sit well. Men might spit. Some might do worse." Quote, "Let them," she said, her chin jutting out defiantly. "They don't know what binds us together. They don't know the fire that made this promise. If they spit, I will stand taller. If they hate, I will not break. My heart is not theirs to control." Her powerful words made his chest ache, a strange mix of deep pride and real fear. He realized she wasn't there asking for his permission. She washed her to simply claim what she firmly believed was already hers, and even though he felt totally unworthy, a piece of him buried deep truly longed for the exact thing she was offering, a hand to finally share the silence, a soul to chase away the deep emptiness. He tried to speak again, but again his voice failed him. All he could do was look at her, and in her eyes, he didn't see Thesmall girl clutching his shirt in terror. He saw a magnificent woman who'd crossed canyons of both time and distance just to keep her vow. And he knew then that destiny wasn't something a man could outrun, no matter how fast his horse might.